polling and some notes on polling today. But first, I want you guys to take a look at some approval ratings. So if we go to pollingreport.com, there's plenty of things that you can look at, whether it is issues of the president, looking at Supreme Court limits, abortion. We are going to go look at President Biden. We're going to look at his job ratings and approval rating over time. So these are the different approve or disapprove based on the question of do you approve of what he's doing for his job. And these are the different news outlets and polling, reputable polling outlets that conduct polls over the course of an administration. They do it every couple weeks. So if you look at Fox, 44% in that poll said they approve, 56% disapprove, and that was between December 9th and the 22nd. If you click on some of these as well, it will give you the results over time on different types of questions from different outlets. Very similar. They add some certain words and certain phrases. So if you compare these two, do you approve or disapprove of the job Joe Biden is doing as president? Approve or disapprove of the way Joe Biden is handling his job as president. So just a different way of wording it. On the bottom then, or on the top here, it has margin of error plus or minus 5. That's a pretty big margin of error. You need to be within 5. This one's plus or minus 2.4, which is much better. Sometimes it tells you if they're likely voters, registered voters. So that's just a look at the polls, and that's what you will do when you create your own. So our goal here is to explain the quality and credibility of claims based on public opinion data, and public opinion data is collected via polls. So the key component when measuring any public opinion, you want to look at the intensity. So what is the strength of a position for or against the issue? Are people really passionate about it? We need to know if they are, because those intense opinions are critical in what lawmakers may do in the future. Also, an intense minority can win an issue because it must be addressed. Fluidity, the extent to which public opinion changes. So does this opinion change over time, quickly, slowly, or is it a stable issue? Is it something that remains constant over a period of time? And you can get that by conducting polls and looking at the results. We also want to know if this is a relevant issue. Do people care? Is it something that has faded away, or is it testing a time frame and continues to be something that's important? So ways to conduct it, you can do person to person. You can go up to people. A lot of times they do this at political events, and they talk to the people that are there. It's good because you can see facial expressions. It's harder to walk away from someone that's asking a question. You can also see what they're wearing, how they're acting. However, sometimes people are intimidated, maybe don't want to really share their true opinions, just agree, doubt what they're talking about, their confidence in it. You can use the telephone. You can call people. Today, I am beginning to get political calls because of the campaign. Those people remain anonymous. You can remain anonymous as well. People that are on the phone are reading scripts, so you're saying the same thing over and over. However, a lot of people don't answer. They hang up. Today, we are told that it's a political call, so you can not pick up and ignore it. Other ways, surveys. Surveys are polling, but usually in non-political terms. You've conducted surveys. You have taken a lot of surveys. Written questionnaires make tabulation of data difficult. So if it's not just approve, disapprove, if you have a short response, it's very difficult to put into categories and judge what people are saying. Usually easy, though, for surveys to get a large crowd. Results are often skewed, but skewed doesn't always mean it's an equal bias. Internet polling, quick, anonymous. A lot of people have access to it. People can just click on it and do it. However, you have to have access to the internet to be able to take it. Some people might be able to take it multiple times. There's bots, there's programs that maybe manipulate some of this data. So measuring public opinion poll guides political candidates. What do the people of the state of Iowa or New Hampshire or the United States want from their candidate? So what should we talk about? What stance should we take? Incumbents know who they're running against and the stats and what people are saying in the next poll. Are they going to vote for them? Are they not? Are they doing their job well? Different groups and organizations are polled as well. The most common way is through polls and surveys. Send that data out. But again, a lot of times they do make phone calls. So the goal is construct a representative sample of the elector, the individuals who are voting. Measure salient issues, meaning important issues, and have responsive data that's very current. So if we're looking at a poll, we look at sample size first. Must be large enough to be valid. So usually around 1,000 people need to respond. Surveying obviously can get out to a much larger crowd these days, and it's easier with our technology. So the margin of error should be about 3. Anything over 5 indicates it's not a good poll. The margin of error means that this is where we think, based on the results and how many people asked, it's anywhere between these two numbers. So if the number was 70% and the margin of error was 2, then it's either 68% or 72%, which isn't bad. If they allowed a 10% margin of error, it would be between 60 and 80, and that's a huge difference. Sampling error when a poll is tested in multiple locations. The difference between the two poll results, same question, different locations. What does the data say? What do the numbers say? Then it's important how you actually are conducting it, and then the type of questions that you use. So some types of questions here, and we looked at the data for Biden earlier. You can do approve or disapprove. So an example, would you approve or disapprove of a manned mission to Mars? Do you approve or disapprove of the way Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Donald Trump is handling his job as president? Enumerated responses, so ranking things. Which issue do you believe the Congress should focus on first? So they always do that when campaigns are coming up. Is it the economy? Is it foreign policy? Is it immigration? Is it abortion? And then you can rank those. You can also have a question like relating to how President Obama is handling economic affairs. So in that one specific area, how do you think he's doing? Here's a quick look at some data that was conducted. Percentage of people saying their opinion of the Republican Democratic Party is. So it's either favorable or unfavorable. They broke it down by the political party. They're in favor of their political party versus the other, and it can change over time. Here's another poll conducted, and it was talking about institutions in the United States, American society. Please tell me how much confidence you yourself have in each one. So they're ranking them. It's another way to get some data. Okay, Americans had a lot of confidence in military. Towards the bottom, Congress, and that number is much lower now. This was 2015. It's much lower. The presidency, we looked at Biden's numbers earlier. So some other types of polling questions, free response. Please tell me your opinions on President Obama. How could the United States Congress help high school students attend college? Very difficult. Again, the benefits is specific details. Drawback could be vague details. Maybe not a lot of written response. Also putting those into categories. How can you put a number to certain responses when they're all a little bit different? Push polling. Push polls aren't really polls, just a way to influence your opinion. So, for example, if the Iraq war continues to cost over $20 billion per month, how would you like to see the government save money? So you're telling someone a negative aspect of the war, all the money that's being spent. So how can you change it? So you already have, you're kind of trying to sway their opinion in one direction. Another example, given the Democrats' inability to pass legislation this Congress, do you believe the Democratic Party should have control of the House? So you're saying, hey, they're not doing a good job. Should they change leadership, or should more Republicans be voted in. So looking at writing, we're going to do this unit. Look at current issues, and you can look at them broadly. In-depth knowledge of current events may be unlikely depending on the subject. Again, a lot of people don't have the knowledge to have very in-depth understanding of things. Complex financial things are things you might want to stay away. Don't use prerogative language. Make the polling process quick. Again, people don't want to spend a lot of time on these things. So 5 minutes or less. And then create something that you can reproduce. Follow a script. Helps with the reliability, so you're saying the same thing over. The questions are the same every time. So just kind of recap for yourself different ways to conduct a poll. What is a push poll? Why would that be a bad thing? Look at fluidity and stability when you're trying to identify issues, and then make sure you know all the different aspects to polls.